Hey, welcome. We all change as time goes on. That's just a fact of life. But how much of that change is actually on purpose? Today, we're going to talk about conscious evolution, this idea that we can literally be the architects of our own personal growth. So let's get into it. This really is the big question, isn't it? Are we just kind of drifting along, letting life happen to us? Or can we actually grab the steering wheel and decide where we want to go? That's what this is all about, making that shift from chance to choice. Okay, so first things first, we need to know where we're headed. What are we even talking about when we say conscious evolution? So here's the core of it. Conscious evolution, it isn't some big mystical thing. It's really a process. It's about raising our awareness, and it's powered by two key engines: reflection, looking back at our experiences, and learning, actually pulling the wisdom out of those experiences. Yeah, this really nails the difference. See, passive growth is like a leaf floating down a stream. It just happens. But active, self-directed development, that's you being the architect. You're the one drawing up the blueprints for the person you're trying to become. So we know the destination. The next question is, how do we actually get there? Well, let's open up the toolkit and see what we've got. It really boils down to these three simple but super powerful practices. You've got journaling, reflecting, and creating feedback loops. Think of these as the essential tools for the job. Let's break each one down real quick. First up, journaling. And look, this is way more than just a diary. Think of it as your personal data collection. You can't really analyze something you don't remember clearly, right? Journaling gives you the raw material, the data, to work with. A really good place to start is just to ask yourself, what happened today that made me feel a strong emotion, and why? Okay, next up is reflecting. So if journaling is gathering all the materials, reflection is where you actually start building. This is when you look at what you wrote down and ask the important questions. Why did I react like that? Is there a pattern here? What could I try differently next time? This is how you turn raw experience into actual wisdom. And finally, we have feedback loops. Because let's be real, we can't do this all on our own. We all have blind spots. So going out and actively asking for feedback gives you that outside perspective you just can't get by yourself. It's kind of like having a trusted inspector come in and look at your work. And if you want really honest input, try asking a super specific question, like, hey, what's one thing I could start doing to be a better teammate? It just cuts through the awkwardness and gets right to the good stuff. All right, so we've got the toolkit: journal, reflect, get feedback. It sounds simple enough, but as we all know, there are these powerful things inside of us that can really get in the way. So let's talk about those pitfalls. In this quote right here, it points to the two biggest roadblocks. It really comes down to judgment and the fear of failure. I mean, these two feelings can completely paralyze us and stop us from even asking for feedback, let alone using it to grow. You can really see the two different paths here, right? On one side, you've got this constructive mindset. It's open, it's ready to learn, kind of like a plant turning toward the sun. But on the other side, you've got the fear-based mindset. And that's like a brick wall, just built out of judgment and defensiveness, blocking anything useful from getting through. So here's what it all comes down to. Getting challenges and feedback, that's gonna happen no matter what. That's not the part we control. The part we do control is our response. And choosing to process things constructively with a goal of learning something, that is the single biggest thing that determines whether we grow or just stay stuck. And that brings us to one last thought, something to really take with you. To make all this real, just ask yourself this one question. What is one piece of feedback at work, in your relationships, anywhere, that you've been too afraid to ask for? You know what? Maybe just taking that first step and asking that question. Maybe that's the start of your own conscious evolution.